another lifter struggling at 110.
Remember, we're still not up to the weight from the B group yet, so as it stands, the Spanish lifter finds himself sat quite comfortably at the moment in the lead.
Let's take a look at the Bulgarian, Ferdi Nazif, attempting to lift 111 kilos. A very good point that you make, Michaela. 115 from the B group is still the best so far. Early days. And I have to say that the Romanian Croitoru has changed his opening lift to 120. Let's wait for that to come.
Oh, that was solid.
Very controlled opening lift from Ferdi Nazif of Bulgaria, 5th in this competition last year, the 2013 Europeans.
Quite a wide stance to start with, but doesn't he make that look comfortable? People ask me how wide should the feet be when they're lifting as the bar comes off the floor. I always say, get ready to jump as high as you can. That's where you need your feet.
Ismet Algul for Turkey. Another lifter choosing to open his 3 snatch performances at 111 kilograms. 116 is his PB, just 21 years of age. He'll take that.
Very solid opening attempt. Looks a bit strange there before he started the lift. It looked like the bar was wonky on the platform, but he was looking at the centre referee. But confident opening attempt. I'm sure we're going to see a lot more to come there. Well, there's all change in the warm-up room.
Now let's just take a look at the current standings. Josu Rachi for Spain still at the top of the table, putting down 115 kilos in his second attempt. So Todorchenkov for Bulgaria at 111 for his second. Still has work to do to get into the top flight here. He's currently down in 8th position. I would have thought he'd have gone for a little bit more weight, but maybe he's saving that to a third and final performance.
I always say to my athletes, it's not the weight that you start on, it's the weight that you finish on that's most important. And he's putting a good chain of lifts together here. That's 2 out of 2, 1 to go. Personal best of 113. He's only 2 kilos below best here, so hopefully we'll see at least an equal, maybe a kilo or 2 on top of that.
This is backstage in the warm-up area. It's Vizitiu. 111 for Daniel to lift, youngest performer. And by our records here, he's way over his PB already.
Oh, dear me.
No, that's a second failure at 110 and 111. It's all going horribly wrong for the youngster.
Well, this is going to be one huge test for somebody so young. You can just see the body language here. You can see he's close to tears. When you train this hard for something, and it means so much. But from a coaching point of view, he missed that in a very simple way. Simply put too much effort in. This young lad is obviously growing and developing very rapidly, and overlifted that. The bar came crashing down on top of him in the receiving position, and that's why he couldn't hold it. It really is important to feel the weight off the floor, to work out how much effort to put in. Maybe with the added adrenaline on the day, he just overlifting. Now, I always find that the weight is lighter when you step foot onto an international stage. Extra adrenaline.
Well, in stark contrast, Gogabua of Belgium, 21 years older than the young Romanian, who has just had a second failure, but the veteran from Belgium also under a little bit of pressure here. Missing his first lift, now attempting 112 on his second.
If a lifter fails a lift, they have the option to take the same weight again, which most lifters do. Putting it up is risky, very risky.
Now let's hope that the judges don't spot any problems with that second performance. From our perspective, certainly mine here in the commentary box, that looked good enough to record 112.
Absolutely nailed it. 3 kilos below his best. Now let's see what Tom can do. 1 attempt remaining.
That keeps his competition hopes alive. Back to the youngster, Vizitiu, Daniel Vizitiu.
Let's hope he can achieve this. I'm not too sure on the coach's tactics here. He missed 110, then missed 111. They've now put the bar to 112. The weight's not the issue, that's for sure. He's well capable of another 5 kilos or more. The question is, can he land in a really solid receiving position, or is this bar going to deck him again?
This is all about the mental focus now. Really does need to try and visualize his way through this third and final chance to stay in this competition.
That's better, much better.
Yes, he's done it. Well done.
Do you know what? This young man, I'm going to put money on next year, this young man taking a medal. He's got a lot to learn, a lot of experience to gain, but the leg power and the speed into that receiving position, if only he can work out the timing, there's so much more to come. He's going to be one to watch out for in the next few years.
Well, Vizitiu runs out of time, runs out of performances. His third and final lift successful at 112 kilograms. But due to those problems in the first and second, that's his snatch competition over. Bulgaria are next up. This is Todor Chenkov. His third and final lift at 113 kilos. This is to equal his personal best.
Very short on the extension. Cannot afford to cut the lift short, not on these kind of weights. Watch as it passes the knees, just backing off from it, throwing his shoulders back, never fully committed. Can't afford to look up at the bar, you've got to be underneath, knowing where it's going to go.
So Chenkov will have to settle for 111 and 6th position at this point in the competition. Oleg Sergei for Moldova. 114 kilos for his second lift. Just need to point out that we are still waiting to see Florin Croitoru of Romania, who is still waiting in the warm-up area, has set the mark at 120 kilos for his opening lift. Let's get back to Sergei here. He needs to start putting in some good work as the defending champion.
Well, again, just throwing his shoulders back, ducking out the way of it, not fully committed.
No lift for Oleg.
Really is a fine line, a very, very fine line between success and failure at these kind of weights.
Joseph Bracchi from the B final still leads. Gogabua of Belgium lies second.
Belgium, you ready?
Mirko Scarantino for Italy, 114. His second lift. He's there. He lets us all know it as well.
Well, he really is a rising star. 14th at the Olympic Games in London back in 2012. His performances are literally going from strength to strength.
Good technique, nice and dynamic, no shortage of emotion. There's the young lady who started this Italian, incredibly positive Italian start to these European Championships. That's Jenny Pagliaro watching on and doing everything she can to keep her young teammates Scarantino in this competition. He's only 19 years of age. Now, Oleg Sergi is back on the stage for a second attempt at 114 kilos. This is his third and final lift.
I'm not happy with the collar there. Just making sure it's done up and it's tight enough. Last thing you want is the weight sliding when the bar's overhead. Just trying to lock that thumb underneath his fingers.
And it's all over for Oleg Sergi.
Well, the defending European champion has found himself now under some serious pressure going into the second half of the competition. At least 6 kilos down, maybe more.
Finds himself down in 10th position. That is a huge disappointment for Oleg. Second lift for İsmet Algul of Turkey, 115 kilos. Now, success here would put him into joint first position, as you can see from the graphic on your screens. First lift of 111 kilos, pretty straightforward, went very nicely.
This will put him into the lead by virtue of lighter body weight. Coach is shouting for him to stand still.
And there it is, that is success. All good for İsmet Algul of Turkey, going into top position.
A little bit short on that extension, but compensates by being